So, what brain type are you? Or which center do you live predominantly in? It can be useful to figure this out because it'll be the one which takes you away from the present moment more often than the others. Each person is born and, for one reason or another, ends up more developed in one brain or another. And physically, you can see this in that the instinctively centered people tend to be quite solid. They have quite a body mass. They're stocky sometimes. Whereas the moving centered people are more sinewy. They can be slightly more cut or regular. Then the emotional people, they tend to have like the marshmallow aspect to them. They can be a little bit more fleshy. And intellectual people, they tend to be slimmer. Now, of course, there are exceptions to these, as with all things, and it's a bit more complicated because you could be in an emotional part of a center and therefore have a little bit of the marshmallow element added to whatever other center you're in. But generally, the instinctive ones are quite solid mass. The moving ones are quite regularly formed and more sinewy. The emotional ones have a little bit more extra body mass, and the intellectual ones can be quite slim. So, in looking at the things that preoccupy you most, you can get an inkling of which center you're actually in. Also, if you think of the things that you just can't leave alone, like if someone will bring up something or do something, you can't leave it alone. That gives an indication of where you're most identified, whether it be with ideas, rights, or with instinctive sensations, etc. But as I said before, it's a key to, as it says on the oracle in Delphi, the first statement seemingly is know thyself. And I would suggest that you should know yourself as a machine, a computer, to know how you have preoccupations and which parts of you are strongest, in order that you can do the second statement on it, which is nothing to excess. Because as it stands, most people are in excess in one brain or another. And this gives them a distorted perspective on life. It's a bit like the biblical statement, the glass that we see through darkly. It's part of that filter. Another reason why it might be hard to tell your center of gravity, or where you have most gravity in which center, is that we also have a predominant endocrine gland in our body, which makes it a particular shape or another. But that's something I'll go into in future, because it's quite complicated in its own right. But it's worth making the effort to try and figure out which center you're in, because it'll give you an insight into awakening and balancing, having nothing to excess, taking away a little bit of the darkness from the glass that we see through. So good luck with that. Bye-bye.